Hello, hello. Let me just go in here and change my name. All right, hi, I'm Stacie Fletcher. It is so good to be here with you. And this week we have been talking about worry. And it's kind of fun. We set up our curriculum a long time ago, and it happened that this week, when we're talking about worry, fell on election week when I think most of the country is worried one way or another. And so it's been interesting to look at worry in the midst of an election, in the midst of a time in which everyone wants to worry and everyone is worried, whichever side of the fence they sit on. And so, yeah, so we've done a couple of lives and, our Monday mindset. We've talked a lot about worry. So I'm not going to go too deeply into it, but I want to talk a little bit about some strategies, about the strategies of coping with worry. And one of the things that I talk about, or I talked about in the Monday mindset, is this idea of a worry-free diet. So you can choose to cut out things out of your physical diet. I'm going to cut carbs or I'm going to cut sugar. And what we're encouraging you to do this week is to cut worry. And I know for many of you that seems impossible. Like, cut out worry. um, but I actually am applying the same kind of idea that we look at in our weight management type of activities. And in, like, when we want to stop drinking, we have this idea of urges and how to process urges. And an urge is just when you have this urgent feeling, this urgent desire for something. And so, when you have an urgent desire for that sugar, for a cookie or ice cream or pizza or something that is you view as comfort food, or maybe, it's alcohol and you have an urgent desire for a drink. And when you have that urgent desire, you have a thought that then you leads to a feeling where then you choose how you're going to react or act upon that desire. And that's then when we eat off of our plans, eat the things that we don't want to be eating, drink the things that we don't want to be drinking, is in response to these urges. And so in a similar way, we want to worry because our brain thinks that it is helpful, but it's not. And I've talked all kinds about that, so we don't need to go that far into it. But I want to talk a little bit longer about what it looks like to process an urge and allow an urge to be there and not actually get into that urge, and then look at how that applies to something like worry. The action of choosing, of worrying about something. And so when we have this desire to have something, we have, this thing in our brain, this pathway in our brain that's very well traveled, and our brain is used to going down this pathway. And a researcher named Dr. Pavlov actually did research around this, and he did research with it with dogs. And so with the dogs, every time their caretakers would come in to feed them, they would start drooling. And so he started having them, they would ring a bell, and every time that bell would be rung, the dog knew that food was coming, and then it would start drooling. And so the way that he deconditioned the dogs from this is that he would ring the bell and then not give them food, and then ring the bell and then not give them food, and then ring the bell and then not give them food. And eventually, when the bell was rung, they would no longer drool. And this is how we teach, for you to deal with different urges that you have. You have this desire to do something, and so that's the bell ringing. And the way that you decondition your brain from doing it is by not responding to that desire. But here's how we normally do it. We normally do it by resisting it or by trying to distract ourselves, or by white knuckling it. Like, I'm just gonna I'm gonna get through this. And so we resist it when we're like, no, you can't have that urge. You push it away. Like, that urge is not allowed. No, we don't do that here. And so for a lot of you, when I say go on a worry-free diet, you have this vision of like, nope, you're not allowed to worry. Stop worrying. You can't worry. But instead, that's not, that's one way that we often deal with it, but it's not a successful way that we usually deal with urges, is this resisting of them. Another way that we try to do it is we white knuckle it. Like, I'm just going to have discipline. I'm just going to have discipline. And it's another form of resisting it. And you've heard me use this idea a lot, but it's like holding a beach ball down underwater. You push and you push and you push and you push, and eventually you get tired and it pops back up. And that's what happens, is that we only have so much self-control or that self-discipline, and eventually it wears out. And then when that urge comes back even stronger, a lot of times then you give into it even more than you would have before. And so resisting it is one option that we tend to do with urges. Um, Numbing it, which is, the thing that we're usually urging for, is the numbing behavior. And then, or reacting to it. So then actually like going in and doing it. And so none of those work for the long term. What works instead is allowing the urge to be there without reacting to it. So you're not going to resist it. You're going to allow the urge to be there, but you're not going to respond to it. You're not going to react to it. And there's some different ways that you can do that. And so some of them are like, imagine like a little kid, you're at the grocery store with a little kid and they just are like, I want this candy bar. I want this candy bar. I want this candy bar. And you could yell at them, or you could like storm them out of the store, or you could react to them, you could resist them, but instead you're just going to allow it to be there. They can throw their temper tantrum. They can be really upset. You can say, yeah, honey, I know you want that candy bar. I totally get that you want the candy bar. Of course, it looks great. We're not going to have the candy bar, but it's okay that you want the candy bar. And that's one methodology. Another way is to actually tune in to the feeling that it's giving you in your body. So like, okay, I'm having this. And so where am I feeling it in my body, and describing it with physical words? So like my neck feels tight, or my stomach has a knot in it, or the back of my neck here is clenching up. It feels hard, it feels fast, it feels dark, whatever. Just describing it with actual words and tuning into what it's doing in your body, and just keep following it. A lot of times as you start to tune into your body, it'll be really intense in one area, and then you just kind of let it be there, and it will start to break up, and then it will move, and you'll feel it in a different part of your body, and it'll be really intense, and you just continue to like let it be there and focus on it, and it'll break up, and then eventually it processes through. That process usually doesn't take very long. So you can really like work on just allowing it to be there, by focusing in on the physical sensations, having compassion for it. And it's just this feeling of opening up to it. Like, it's okay that of course I want to do that. Of course I want to worry. Of course I want to worry right now. Makes sense that I want to worry. I don't have to resist it, but I also don't have to choose to worry. Can understand and have compassion that I want to worry right now. Can be open to the feeling and this desire to worry, but I don't have to actually engage in worrying. And the more you practice this, the more your brain will start going on a new pathway, and it will say, oh yeah, we don't worry. So it won't try to do that anymore. And so as you begin to train your brain and to really manage it in this idea of worry, you'll start noticing all these things open up. And that is a beautiful thing. When you begin to be able to experience life in a different way, because you're not experiencing all of this worry, it really it really changes things. And so our challenge this week is to go on a worry-free diet. I had no idea that we'd be issuing that challenge during the elections. And for some of you, that's probably not as big of a deal, especially if you're, not even of age to vote. But it's probably a big deal with your parents and coaches and the people around you. And so choosing, looking at this though, as applying to your athletics, let's look directly at that. So let's say you're worried about, an upcoming competition. And so you're thinking about it and you have this urge to worry about it. Maybe you're going to worry about the details. When is it? How am I going to get there? Is my outfit ready? Is my, my competition uniform ready? Are my skills ready? Did we pay registration? Or maybe you're worried about like, am I going to do okay? Am I going to get picked for the team? Am I going to be allowed to compete? Or are we going to have COVID? You're going to go through all of the things. And every time you have the urge to worry about one of those things, you just open up to it. Yeah, brain, totally get that you want to worry about this. Makes sense. I know that you think it's helpful. I know that you think that it will prepare me. But I have other emotions that that are more effective for preparedness. I'm going to choose one of those instead. If you really want to work on being prepared, work towards an emotion that is going to drive the actions of being prepared, right? Determination, confidence, calm, peace, control. Any of those kinds of emotions are going to be much more effective at actually taking actions to prepare yourself than worry ever could be. And so say, we're going to choose an emotion that helps us do the things to be prepared. We're not going to worry. It's all right that you want to worry. It's just not what we're going to do. We're going to try something else today. We're on a worry-free diet. And just move on. Again, compassionately, with curiosity. Like, I get that you want to worry. How do you think worrying is going to help us? Oh yeah, okay. Well, it's not. So we're gonna move on. I hope that's really helpful in figuring out how to actually deal with worry. And we'll see you guys next week. Good luck on the rest of the week with your worry-free diet.